What's up, guys? This is DJ Unprotected, and I'm here to give you my initial review of the Roland DJ-505. So there's tons of videos out there about reviewing this product. So why is this one kind of important, and why do I think this matters to you? Well, since 2008, I've been a CDJ guy. I started DJing in 2007, learned how to, operate the wheels of steel on the techniques, and then I got the Pioneer CDJ 800s in 2008, and I've been a CDJ guy since. I've worked with other DJs who, ended up moving over into the controller world, had the new Marks, the Pioneers, stuff like that. I stayed with my CDJs, and even to the point where I wasn't even using HID, I was still using the control disc through DVS, and I was using my dicers and stuff like that. So this is my first controller right here, the Roland DJ-505, and it's a huge upgrade for me. I was excited when I saw this come out, or that this version was going to be released back in September. I was actually a huge fan when they announced the DJ-808, but it just was kind of too big for what I was looking for, but this seems to be perfect. So in my initial review, what I'm going to talk about is my first notices of what I liked about this controller, essentially, or what was different for me from moving from the uses of a CDJ to the controller. And I'm gonna talk about my likes and then my dislikes, or the dislikes may be just things that I'm not used to, the switch from the CDJs and the mixer to just one product. And then I'll wrap it up, cover the things I like, dislike, and talk about, is this product for you? Like, is this something that you should look into upgrading yourself? And, talk about maybe the future uses of what I can do in the videos. All right. So my first notices of using this controller. Initially, the jog wheels are completely different than CDJs. Now, I had my CDJs for 8 years. So this system is less broken into. My CDJs are loose, everything about them. I've used the shit out of them for 8 years. So, if there's a knob, if there's a fader, it's loose. Everything here is real tight. The jog wheel on these are so smooth. Okay, initially, that's what I really noticed, is the smoothness behind this jog wheel here. I mean, I love the feel of this thing. It's like butter as this thing moves across. Metal top of this is kind of like a metal plate, I guess, on top of the jog wheel here, and I think it's pretty legit. The tempo fader, first notice, it's a lot less room than what I had on the CDJs 900s. It's a little less room to deal with, so you really pinpointing your BPMs or getting it tight is going to take a little work. I'm getting used to it. That's okay. You can adapt to it. The other thing, and this is real tight, it's not loose, so I like it. I mean, the overall build of this thing is excellent, and I'll continue to talk about that. Quality of the knobs and buttons, right? So everything here is just well built. The knobs are smooth. They're not overly loose, not like you can overturn them or anything. They feel really good. The notches, when you know that it's the center point, especially on your EQ knobs here. Like I said, the builds are just excellent. Your effects knobs are real smooth. I like that. And then each channel has a filter. I'm a huge fan of that. I love this sound of a filter during transitions, during breakdowns, and the fact that it's built in right here. You don't have to turn anything on or off. I had the Pioneer DJM 800 mixer before when I was using CDJs, and I'm a huge fan of that. The filter is built right into this thing, and I think it sounds real clean and crisp. I really enjoy that. Another thing, less cables. The fact that this thing has the power cable, USB, and then if you're hooking up your booth or your speakers, that's it. Before, my CDJs running from the SL3, and then I had dicers. I had so many USB cables going into my laptop. Had to use a hub, all that. I love the fact that this is one cable. I'm so excited about that. So let's talk about the likes, right? Paid $699 for this thing. What do I like about it? Well, the accessibility and integration with Serato is awesome. I love that, right? When a controller brings you the opportunity so that you don't have to bounce to your laptop, bounce back to the controller, and this thing gives you that opportunity. If you pre-plan your set list or what you're working on, you can just do everything here. I mean, you can scan through your tracks with this knob. You can, load the track here. It's awesome. Do your instant doubles. I love that because I'm not going back to my laptop searching for songs or what have you. If you have your track list and your playlist set up for your podcast or whatever you're doing, to me, I think that's excellent. You have also your Serato effects linked here, so you can preset those up, turn them on and do what you need to do. I'm such a fan of that. The integration is impeccable with this device in Serato. So sampler capability, I think this is really cool too, because you can load different sample decks in Serato depending on if you're doing a performance set, or say if you want to just do your own DJ drops.
DJ Unprotected.
It's so cool. You can just hit your sampler here, whatever samples you want to play. I think that's great. Me personally, I'm not really the type that wants to, hit my DJ drops all the time when I'm out doing a gig at a club or a bar. Some people are into that. I usually, do these for the live online mixes and what have you. But you can load up other cool samples, like if you had, hype mixes or other things that's just fun for the dance floor. I think this would be essential. This is a great tool to have in your toolkit. So this thing offers the ability to do multiple decks, and within Serato you can have up to 4 decks, and this allows you to choose 1 and 3 deck on your left channel here, and then your right channel you have your decks 2 and 4, and I'm a huge fan of that. So where my acapella remixers and stuff like that out there, this is an awesome feature. I love it so far. You can totally do some great mashups and things like that. And then, the whole real point of this system is the TRS. You have your basically drum controller up here, which I think is pretty badass. 16-step sequencer, which can sync to your tracks. You have different kits you can go through. You can program them, you can save them. So if you're doing a drop and you just want a bunch of hand claps, or if you want, if you're a different drop and you want to maybe cut that beat to halftime, kind of like a trap beat or a dubstep or something like that, it's awesome. So, plenty of things to be said about this, and that's kind of the whole reason for this controller is that. Now, the other thing, you don't need Serato to operate the drum controller or those samples. So you can have this as a standalone drum controller if you wanted to, if you're working with other DJs or playing live and you had the system's daisy chain, stuff like that. If you didn't have Serato and you just want to play the beats behind someone else during their set, you could totally do that. The capability of this thing is endless. I'm a huge fan of that, and I want to be able to master that and really get that down to help take my sets to another level. Okay, so those are some of the likes that I've really came across in the past 2 days, and now I do want to talk about the dislikes, right? What about this thing has been different from the change of CDJs and my mixer to this, And the first thing is, okay, so you have your mixing, you have your Q knob, and then you can turn it over to your master and adjust it that way. If you just want to hear what track you're cueing, you turn all the way to the left, and all the way to the right for your master. In the middle, you get the equal tracks. Honestly, I miss the split cue. I miss being able to have my cue track in my left ear and the master track in my right ear, and then doing it that way. I like mixing that way. I mean, I usually do the one headphone on, and then I have, kind of a booth monitor or something like that, or here I have a little studio speaker. So I do miss that, so that's a little different for me, because if I'm listening to both tracks at the same time, it's just something I have to get used to. So when I did not know that before I purchased this. So when I was messing around with it initially, I'm like, where's the split cue? Maybe I'm missing it. So if you can see a split cue somewhere on this thing and you've been using the Roland DJ-505, let me know, but I have not yet seen it, and so it's kind of disheartening there, but I guess I'll get used to listening to both tracks and both ears at the same time, because I'm not a sync DJ. So that's the other thing. This has your your sync option. And you can do that. I think it's great if you're doing performance sets and you're dropping a lot of samples and you're switching between BPMs, and you've got 5 minutes to play your best set. You don't want to spend time utilizing the tempo fader. Then cool, sync it up. You could do that. But for me, I'm listening through the headphones and trying to get a bead on where the beat's at and how they're going to work together. So honestly, that's the only thing I've disliked so far about this thing within 2 days. 7 hours of playing on it, that's the only thing I can say that I'm not, that I miss coming from CDJs, and I don't think that's too bad of a thing, right? Okay, so let's cover the wrap up, right? It's a great upgrade, without a doubt. I do not regret spending, $699 on this system. I think it's worth the money. It's good quality build. The knobs feel good. It is, pretty much all plastic except for the top of your platters here. The knobs, everything is real smooth, kind of tight. So I think it's good. Quality is great. Got no complaints there. And the integration with Serato, if you're a Serato DJ and you like their effects that they offer, and especially with this, you get the toolkit, which comes with the pitch and time. It's really worth that because you can it's a game changer for your sets, right? And that kind of brings me into this opportunity to let's talk about why something like this. You have the ability to produce drums on the fly, edit samples, pitch things, right? This is a device that I believe is going to aid in the future of DJing. I think where DJing is heading, whether you're doing festivals, whether you're doing club gigs, maybe private party gigs, right? Mobile DJing, is that the production on the fly is going to help set you apart from your competition, right? Because it seems like today everybody can jump into the world of DJing, right? Yes, there is value to the art and science behind being a DJ, right? Your song selection, your blending, your mixing, getting the grooves to vibe together, harmonically mixing your tracks, stuff like that, telling a story with the music. That's the art and science. But so many people can pick up an application through a laptop, a tablet, their phone, and do some, quick track alignments and stuff like that and play music at a gig or event, right? Someone can buy a $100 controller, have it match with DJ Mix or Mix, which is a free program, or if they want to do the Serato, and then they could start doing events. It's just too easy, right? And, I'm not saying that they are the best or that the craft is lost, but I'm just saying that the opportunity for people to do it is so open out there that you need to set yourself apart. This will help you do that, right? Because you can change your drops, you can alter samples, you can alter sounds, you can take samples from other tracks, loop your acapellas, input those into breakdowns, do your own mashup. There's so many things you can do with this type of technology to take your set to a new level, right? So you can create your own attitude out there with overlaying 4 tracks and, having different samples and producing your beats. And maybe, you can lay out different samples so you have the opportunity to put 8 samples here, right? And then they can each be a different chord. So you can record that while you're putting down a beat, and technically you're playing like your music live, right? So if you had like a 4-minute interlude or a little break or something like that, you could do that. You could have different banks. I believe there's 4 banks within Serato, so you could essentially have 4 different of your own songs set up, ready to go to put live. I think that's essential. I think that's the future of DJing. That's just my input. If you want to set yourself apart, I think you have to be more active than your song selection and just meeting the crowd's needs. I think you have to spice it up. Let's hear that awesome hook over a different type of beat and mashups on the fly. Anyway, I guess that's a discussion for another time, but that's how I feel about this. So I think it's worth it. Is this for you? If you're a CDJ guy and you're thinking about upgrading to this type of system, I think it's worth it. It can take you outside your comfort zone of just track selection and putting music out there for people to dance. Now you can make stuff your own, do your edits, do a loop, add an acapella, make something more exciting for the people. I think the opportunity's there, right? The creativity window is so big if you get a product like this. And honestly, like I said, I think this is where it's headed. So if you're trying to do that, don't, it's a middle point price tag. I think it's really good. It's worth it. The value seems great. I haven't updated gear in 8 years, and I really feel like this is worth it. And I was willing to rock my CDJs until they broke, So it's up to you. In the future, as I get used to all of this and can really narrow it down, I'll do some samples, or not samples, but tutorials of how maybe you can do your own song on the fly, where I put, some chord progressions within the sampler, put some beats on the top, have it set up to where you can kind of maybe do something, perform live. Maybe you're working with a singer, you'll DJ tracks in between when they're singing, and then you can play some of your stuff live within Serato. And I think that's also another great opportunity. All right, so I hope you like this. If you have questions, if you want to see specific things about this, not sure if if this is something you want for the upcoming holidays or your Christmas, and you want me to, demonstrate something, leave something in the comments, subscribe, hit me up. I'm gonna start putting videos about using this thing, on the fly. I want to hear what you guys think, right? Because this is kind of a big deal, and I love these discussions about, where DJing is headed and what y'all think about this. All right, so as always, play it loud and have fun. Peace.